Hi guys, Firmbie with you, and welcome to episode 30 of 15 Minute Makeover. It's a series where we grab a car from car mechanic and see if we can do the repairs within 15 minutes. It's great to have your company. Now today we'll be repairing up the Maserati Quattroporte, which needs to be repaired up to 93%. It does look like actually all the repairs are actually in the running gear there, so we actually need to find them. Though, as you can see there, all the parts are not discovered yet. So we'll be looking at things like, or looking for things like the shocky components, suspension components, rubber bushes, that sort of thing. Now, one of the ways of actually to find those parts is actually use a test path here, and that's what we're actually doing here. That actually gives you a report at the end, giving us at least somewhere to start. So I thought we'd just run it through the test path, and as they give us a good starting point. Now while we are running through the test path here, just having a good look at the inside of the Maserati Quattroporte here. It's quite a nice detailed car. Quite like the detail they actually put into these cars. Obviously a left-handed sided driven car here. It's on the wrong side for us here in Australia, but it is what it is. Obviously some sort of sat nav going on the dash there. As I said, some beautiful detail goes into the internals of these cars. Now for those of you who've been keeping up with the car mechanic contact, you may know that I've been actually looking forward to working on this particular car. And there's the report that I spoke about, the examiner report after going through the test track. So but as I was saying, I've been looking forward to be working on this car. It's been under wraps for quite some time, and it's actually been great. It is great that it's actually been finally released. Now I've actually mentioned it in previous video. I went actually as soon as it was released, went straight over to the auction house and purchased one as soon as it was released. Oh my goodness, words in English again's not working today. And that's what actually you can see in the background there. It's just the restoration waiting patiently to be to fully restored. So that may well be the next video I'll put up, is a full restoration of the Quattroporte. But as you can see, just into this repair here. I just want to actually do this repair. Call it a bit of a warm up, I suppose, just before we could do a full restoration of the old girl. Now speaking of videos or previous videos, I have recently put up 3 videos. The first one was a full restoration of the FMW Panther, as well as a couple of very quick repairs. One on the Del Rey Imperator and one on the Mercedes-Benz 560 SEC. So if you missed those, you may want to go and check those out. Now while you're over there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, just so you don't miss out on any future content. Now I did actually mention at the start of this that this is in fact episode 30. I mean, wow. I can't believe we've actually done 30 episodes of 15 Minute Makeover. I mean, talk about time flying when you're having fun. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about having fun. It's sitting down, creating content for you to enjoy. To me, that's fun. I enjoy doing it, and I hope you enjoy watching it. That's all it's all about, and it gives us a chance to get to know and chat with each other. But even if it is via chat and comments, the comment section, it gives us an opportunity to get in contact with each other and share a common interest. So I think it's a fantastic medium, and as I said, I enjoy creating content. So all I hope that is that you enjoy watching it. But let's get back to this restoration. I'll tell you what, I've done that many restorations, I don't know what I'm doing. This is actually a repair, isn't it? Goodness gracious. This is a repair, of course, so we're looking at getting these parts out and see how many of these parts we can actually get repaired up. Of course, the value, the magic number, I think it was 93%. Yes, I'm just looking at it now, so 93% we're looking at getting those parts repaired to. Those parts who can't be repaired to 93% or in fact break during the repair process, we're just going to have to purchase. But we'll repair up as many as we can and take it from there. And again, that's one of the key things about for those who are just starting out in car mechanic is to get that repair station sorted out or maxed out as quickly as you can, because you do save yourself quite a lot of money just by repairing the car, the parts that are actually in the car, as opposed to buying brand new parts. Especially when the repair value, it might be, you know, a low percentage, whether it's 30 or 40%. Often it's only 1 or 2 clicks at the repair table, and they meet the repair value. So you don't actually need to go and purchase brand new parts. So and the higher you have that repair station inserted up to, or the higher the percentage on it, the more chance to have you have of actually getting that repaired. And here we in fact are at the repair station, and as you just heard, a couple of those did in fact break. And just pause there for a moment, because those other parts meet or exceed our 93% that we're looking for. As you can see, those rims are 95, 96 and 100%, so we don't need to do anything to those repairs. Just getting rid of those couple of parts there. Looks like a couple of parts there left over from our last restoration, so just get rid of those out of the inventory, just to clean it up a bit, so we don't get confused between what we do and don't need. I like to actually go through it section by section, and you know, whether it's gearbox components or whether it's running gear components, it just makes it a little bit easier. As you can see, just type in front and it just narrows down the search engine, I suppose, and it gives you brings up all the front components, and you just look in your inventory as to what front components you actually need. MAS, obviously, for Maserati. And let's get in the right section, you idiot. That's probably a good start. Don't need running gear. Here we go. I think we're on a winner here. Click on running gear, and if we write in here front, it should come up with all the running gear that we're actually going to need for this repair. Let's see what we actually need. That's better. Front sway bar is one of them. Front shocks and a spring cap. Sway bar, front end link A. I think there was 2 of those. You can actually write the whole word in of course, in your search engine if you wanted to, but the list of parts there isn't very extensive, so you just scroll up and down until you find the respective part, obviously. Now we've looked at the front running gear components. Now we can just click over to the rear ones and see what we need on the rear. Very similar again. Just type in rear in your search engine, and it comes up with the rear components, rear spring and shock absorber cap. Pretty standard parts. Generally you find that the springs and the shock absorber caps are 2 that regularly do wear out and break down, so you do end up purchasing quite a lot of those. Same as this knuckle housing A's, both on the front and the rear. You go through a lot of those knuckle housing A's. If we can find the damn critter. Again, you can type it into your search. That's a B there. Rear housing A, that's the one. So you can type it into the search engine there, but yeah, I just find it's just a little bit time consuming, I suppose, to write every single part name in the search engine, and it's just easier to scroll through the dozen or so parts that actually are listed. Running gear, rubber bushes, these are quite notorious. You go through a lot of these, especially on the restorations. Generally you have 12 of the large rubbers and 2 or 3 of the small rubber bushes, so go through a shit ton of those. So yeah, don't be ever afraid to buy heaps of those from the shop, because they never go astray. That's what tyre rods is another one you purchase a lot of, both inner and outer tyre rods. They often won't repair up, so yeah, it's just easy to if they don't repair, just purchase brand new ones. They're not expensive. I think that's actually about all the parts we're going to need. Let's get all these parts back into the old girl and see what we end up coming up with in regards to our repair at the end. So we've just got the brake pads, the shoes, and the calipers on the front there. Sway bar going in now, and I think this front one. No, I was going to say this front spring actually needed a spring and spring cap, but they were actually rear ones, weren't they? Sway bar, and I think that's about it for this particular quarter. There's no rubber bushes that we're going to need for the front here, so we can actually put the tyre back on and then swing around to the other quarter on the other side, like so. And actually there was a front spring, there it is there. So a front spring on the front shock absorber. Once the shock absorber's in, we can actually get that spring cap on the top there. The inner and outer tyre rods we're able to attach as well. If you remember, they weren't actually able to be repaired up, so I actually had to purchase brand new parts for those components. And the rim over the top of that, and we should be just about done for this particular quarter as well. Yeah, so we're able to move down the back. There's quite a lot of parts that actually needed repairing down the back here. So suspension arms and the shock absorbers and so forth. So some of the rubber bushes, of course, as I spoke about, you do need to purchase quite a lot of those. But it's quite an interesting repair, this particular one, because all of it was on running gear, wasn't it? And it's unusual to have that. A lot of times it's spread out across the the gearbox or the suspension, and that's obviously what we're doing today. Brake components. So sometimes it's actually spread across a number of different areas, and you need to actually go looking to where these components are. But yeah, to have them all concentrating on one particular area, which is unusual, but it's unusual, but good in one way, because it's easy to find those components that you need to repair up. Rear wheel hub going in there, and the brake discs. Should be able to put the drive axle in. There we go. Brake pads and calipers, and once those calipers are tightened up, then the rear wheel can go on. Once that rear wheel's on, we can spin around and do this last quarter on this rear left side. We don't want to put the tyre on yet, because we're still a couple of components that you find that if you put the tyre on at this stage, it's just going to get in the way. So I often leave that to the very last thing. Spring cap and spring and spring cap on first. What's left? That might be about it. We'll get this wheel on, and we might even actually check our inventory after. And nothing in the inventory, which is fantastic news. Alright, let's get the old girl off the hoist, and let's crunch some numbers. Okay, green lights across the board, which is fantastic. All that meets our 93% repair value. Money spent on job, 1,047. Bonus for completing the task, 523, with an additional 523 for completing the job, which gives us a total earned of $2,093. Alright guys, thank you very much for your company. I do appreciate it, and I look forward to it next time.